Well, hey there guys, my name's Jeff. Welcome to the channel. Today I want to show you something that I just discovered using ChatGPT, and this just indicates one of the insanely useful things you can get using AI to help you with investing questions. Not financial advice, but I just want to show this to you. What I did is I'm trying to decide between two stocks, and this is in a portfolio that I've been investing in throughout 2025, and the returns are pretty phenomenal so far. The return year to date is 36%, and that compares to about 9.99% for the S&P 500. So 3 times the result of the S&P 500, and it's because I really look at the details. I get very focused on the details, but in the end, I use my own intuition to make investment decisions. I am an intuitive investor. I don't go totally off the numbers and the math and the quantitative aspects of a company. I take that into account, but I'm very sensitive to my thoughts and my instincts about investments. Okay. So I'm looking at ONTO Innovation. It's in my portfolio. I've been investing in it every month this year. And I'm comparing it to Nova Limited, which is an Israeli-based semiconductor equipment manufacturer focused on metrology. ONTO Innovation is based in Wilmington, Massachusetts. And I really like the company, but I've been thinking, you know what? Maybe Nova is a better company. And if it is, I don't want to just stick with continuing to invest in ONTO Innovation if Nova is a better choice. And I feel that both are excellent companies, very well run. And so I'm kind of stuck. But I think it's important because, I'm going to be investing tomorrow into one of these two companies, and I want to make sure that I'm making the right choice. So what I do is I ask ChatGPT, compare ONTO Innovation to Nova Limited. I'm trying to figure out which one would be the most profitable company and the best investment over the next 5 years. So here's what I get from ChatGPT. It spent 1 minute 52 seconds thinking about this, going out into the web and going through all the information it could. And I just have to say, I'm absolutely astounded by the level of detail and information that it considered in giving me this response. So it shows me the head-to-head with the latest prints and valuation. So you can see here's ONTO Innovation, $253 million, which is an increase of 5% year over year, and Nova, which had $220 million in revenue, which is a 40% increase year over year. So right away I'd go like, wow, that is fast growth. My initial gut instinct is that is probably the better company. And then we look here at GAAP gross margin, 48% for ONTO, 57% for Nova. So again, a win for Nova. And they have, more. I'm not going to go through all of the data here, but the revenues are quite strong for both companies. But right here, we've got the gross margin, 50% for ONTO Innovation, 57% for Nova. So what I want to get to is how it digested all this information. It shows me the sources, and then it said where each wins next 5 years. Profitability today, Nova, it's running structurally higher gross and operating margins with strong mix into advanced foundry, logic, and chemical metrology, benefiting HBM, which is high bandwidth memory. Growth vectors, Nova, Nova, record foundry logic revenue and rising chemical metrology adoption, management guides for revenue. Okay. So, and then it says ONTO is broadening beyond optical metrology into advanced packaging and hybrid bonding. So it shows you that both of them have growth vectors. For the valuation, it says ONTO screens cheaper with a sizable net cash pile. Nova earns its premium with higher margins and momentum, but you're paying up. So essentially, Nova makes more money, has a bigger profit margin for each, say, piece of equipment it sells. It has a higher profit margin, and it's like a momentum company, but it's expensive. Onto Innovation, it's no secret to me, the price got whacked this year. I know because I own it and I've been buying it every month, and the shares have gotten cheaper and cheaper every time I buy it, which I like. I'd rather pay less for my shares. But I know that it's very cheap because Nova's price has just been going up continually all year long, and Onto's price has been going down. So it's a much cheaper stock. And my fear is it's getting cheaper for a good reason. Like the market and other investors are seeing things that I'm not seeing. And I'm attracted to the company that has the stock price that keeps going up. But that's why I'm asking to get another perspective. Key risks, both are tied to cyclical wafer fab equipment spend and export regulatory dynamics. Nova has incremental geopolitical exposure because they're based in Israel with their headquarters there. Onto flagged supply chain sensitivity, including some Israel-sourced components. So now it gives me direct answers. Most profitable company, Nova. Higher gross operating margins and earnings per share throughput today. Best investment over 5 years, and this is ChatGPT talking. If I have to pick one today on risk-adjusted terms, I lean onto Innovation. Lower multiple, meaning lower price to earnings, big net cash, and the Semilab deal pulls it deeper into materials metrology, an area where Nova has excelled, while Onto's advanced packaging footprint, HBM hybrid bonding, should ride the AI packaging wave. You need a bit more execution and deal integration belief, but the setup for multiple expansion and revenue accretion looks favorable. If you prefer paying for proven margin leadership and momentum and can tolerate valuation risk, Nova could still outperform. So then it asked me if I want to turn this into a one-page scorecard with trailing and forward PE. I don't need all that. So I just think this is a great tool. Now, the good thing for me in this decision is that I bought shares of Nova last year. I accumulated a bunch of shares, and so I have that already in an account. So I don't feel like I'm missing out on it if I buy Onto Innovation. And I think that's a good position to be in, where you don't feel you're not fear of missing out on the growth of Nova. But my fear, not like I am afraid fear, but as an investor, I don't want to pour more money into Onto Innovation if its financial position is deteriorating or they're not innovating, which would be ironic because the company's called Onto Innovation. But if for some reason they're losing out to competition and their future doesn't look bright, I want to know about that. But what I liked about the research and the information that ChatGPT brought me is that they suggest that because of Onto's large cash pile, a new acquisition, and what they're doing with AI, how did they put that? While Onto's advanced packaging footprint, high bandwidth memory, hybrid bonding should ride the AI packaging wave. So they're not missing out on anything. They're not losing out. It looks like they are in a good position for the next 5 years. So I wanted to share this with you because I just think it's a really powerful tool if you're trying to make a decision. Nova measuring, I call it Nova measuring instruments. It's Nova Limited, but it used to be called Nova measuring instruments, which is why the ticker is NVMI, Nova measuring instruments, but it's called Nova Limited. But anyways, whether Nova or Onto are better, and all of investing, in my view, in my opinion, is comparing these two things. It's opportunity cost and which is your best idea. And one of these companies will outperform the other. It could be by a small amount, it could be by a large amount. But if I'm buying a stock, I am more of a buy and hold investor. I'm not going to buy this and sell it in a month or 2 or 3. I tend to hold all my stocks at least a year, and sometimes 5 or 10 or 15 years or beyond 20 years. So what I decide on today will impact the return on this investment in 5 years. So that's why I'm very thoughtful about this. I wanted to let you guys know that ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, all of these tools are similar in their ability to analyze these situations and help you weigh which one of two options might be better. So if I wanted to, as an example, I could now ask the same question to Perplexity, and I could ask the same question to Claude, and I could see whether all of them agree that ONTO is the better 5-year investment, and maybe some of them will pick Nova. And I think that's worth paying attention to, because if you just rely on ChatGPT and they go, in my view, ONTO innovation, and you go, check, that's great, that's all I need, you might miss out on another AI's perception. It might find some other data out there in the search to key you in on an idea or a thought that you hadn't considered. So, and another follow-up question I might ask is, okay, I'm thinking about ONTO innovation and Nova. Is there another, you know what, since we're here, is there another semiconductor company other than Nova and ONTO innovation that you believe will have even higher returns in the next 5 years? List 5 of them for me, if you can find one. It might not have been the best way to phrase it, but I just wanted to give me a list of 5. You know, I don't need it to spit out every semiconductor company in the world. I just need to, okay, so here we go. Here are 5 additional semi companies that many analysts believe are well positioned. So it gives me Taiwan Semi, ASML, AMD, NXP, and Lam Research. Now these are very big companies and they rank them. But what I want is not a huge company. Taiwan Semi is one of the largest semiconductor companies in the world. Please redo this list, but only companies $50 billion market cap or smaller. Because I don't want the huge ones. I want the ones that have a chance to grow, I believe, even faster. So here we go. Allegro Microsystems, Rambus, which I've never heard of, Tower Semiconductor, Lattice Semiconductor, and Amkor Technology. And it shows why, it gives you market caps, a broader perspective. Would you like to dive deeper? Let's just take a look here. Allegro Microsystems, $4 billion market cap. I prefer investing in small caps because I like small company dynamics. I like that they can grow kind of rapidly, and a $4 billion company can become a $6 billion company, I believe, more easily than a $500 billion company becomes a $1 trillion company. My own impression on that. This is a really cool way of comparing two things. You can actually ask it for lots of things, but in this video, I wanted to show you how I compared ONTO Innovation with Nova Limited and asked the AI, and it came back to me with a resounding ONTO Innovation is, in my opinion, the best company, but explained that if you're willing to take the risk of the high valuation and some of the geopolitical risk, that Nova Limited could be another excellent investment. So there you have it. Thank you so much for watching. List any questions that you have in the comment section below. They always generate an interesting dialogue. Thank you again, and I'll see you in the next video.